Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining me today on the launch of The Lifestyle Trader and for being prompt, registered and ready to go. I am super excited to have you here today in my trading den just outside of London. I want to start by saying that this is not a sales presentation whatsoever, which I'm sure you'll be glad to hear, but it doesn't mean it's going to be devoid of opportunity, but rather the focus is going to be on strategy sharing, trader secrets and insider knowledge from 25 years of pulling millions out of the market. And so this is actually going to be an in-depth, content-rich, value-driven web class, which is going to cut to the heart of the matter and show you clinically and with precision where the real money is made in this game. Rather than just a light dusting of general repurposed trading education we see banded about the internet from the recent stream of pop-up gurus who have little to share other than a sales pitch, I really hope this answers any questions you have about how to get started successfully as a lifestyle trader, and act really as a clarion call on how to do this properly, successfully, and finally, whether it's your first or even your last time of approaching this area in your life. So what is a lifestyle trader? Well, it's somebody who's taking advantage of trading opportunities in the currency markets, but without spending all day in front of a screen, even if you've only got limited amounts of time to devote. Today I'm going to help you discover if trading is right for you. Is your brain pre-wired in a way that is suited to trading in the first place? Now, it may surprise you to learn that some people simply aren't cut out for this. They don't have the right psychological profile, and so I'm going to help you figure that out for yourself today. I'm going to give you a roadmap on how you could go from wherever you are to becoming a lifestyle trader. And I'm going to highlight all the bumps on the road, some of the diversions you're going to want to make, and I'm going to show you all the little shortcuts that I've found in my own journey. Okay, before we kick off, just quickly, you should see some type of chat box on your screen somewhere. If you could just find that now and maybe give me a hello or a hi or something like that, just so I know you're there. Because for the rest of this web class, I want us to be able to communicate with each other. So it's more of an interactive experience for you. Okay, yep, well, I see plenty of you piling in. Okay, there you all are. Hello, hello, hello. Yep, fantastic. Thanks for doing that. Please do use the chat function if you have any comments or questions about the content, and I'll see if I can jump on and answer some of those as we go along. It should be just about an hour for today's session, but let me quickly say that you are definitely going to want to stick around till the end, because I've just set up a brand new strategy call process, and I'm going to be giving you access to that a little later on as a free gift from me to you. One of my trader coaches will actually sit with you and help you discover if you are cut out for trading. And we do that by carrying out a trader personality type test. I'm going to be covering the cost of my trader's time to do this for a limited number of people only. And that is so that you can discover for yourself if you have what it takes. But you won't be able to take advantage of the offer if you click away. Okay, you're here now at the beginning of a journey that requires commitment and dedication to be successful. So start out as you mean to go on. Make a commitment now to really take in and digest this extremely valuable information that I can sincerely say has the potential to change your life in wonderful ways. So I recommend you have a pad and a pen to hand, because I think we learn so much better when we're taking notes. And don't worry, today's session is being recorded, and I'm going to be sending you a link to that recording. Now, I promise you this, that at the end of the session, you're going to leave equipped to take the best course of action for yourself. And as a thank you just for being here, I'm going to give you that incredible free gift, as I have said, towards the end. So please do stay tuned. So who is this session for? Or should I say, who should be on this session? Well, firstly, it's for you if you're interested in trading but haven't got a clue of where to start. So don't worry if you've never done anything like this before. You are very much in safe hands here. By the way, if you have traded before, and even if you have some success under your belt already, you'll definitely still get a tremendous amount of value from today's session. It's for you if you're looking for a way to generate a secondary or even primary income stream without going round the houses, wasting your time with all the junk out there, and then you just want to get on with it and do something that has proven results. It's for you if you are disciplined, can follow rules and show a certain level of commitment. This is not a case of learning a few tricks and then going off and doing whatever you like. It's about being disciplined, being highly focused, and with a view of treating this as a business. And certainly, if you're searching for a get-rich-quick type of deal, or perhaps looking to have a bit of a flutter on the market, with all due respect, this probably isn't the web class for you. And finally, it's for you if you don't want to look at a screen for hours on end. It's called the Lifestyle Trader for that very reason, because it's all about using smart technology to find the best opportunities in the market, therefore freeing up your time so you aren't sat searching for trades, staring at a screen all day long. So what is today's session really all about? Well, we're going to be talking about getting through the pain and frustration of using some of those free trading systems out there and introducing you to one that actually works. And it's called Smart Charts. Smart Charts is using state-of-the-art technology to find the best opportunities in the market. And I think after you see what I'm about to show you today, which I'm dying to do, by the way, you're going to see why Smart Charts is regarded as one of the best trading platforms in the world today, and why it has just won the most innovative new trading platform in several countries around the world, including the United Kingdom. Look, I've met probably over 500,000 traders now from all different walks of life. New traders, people who come into this for the first time, they recognize very quickly there's lots of free software around they can install on their computer. Then they can set the screens up to look very professional with lots of indicators and lines, making it look very fancy-pantsy. But at the end of the day, they're using lots of indicators and lines in their guesswork. And let me be really clear about this. Unless you know what to do and when to do it, you haven't got hope in hell's chance of making money long-term in this game. If you think you can download some software, put all sorts of fancy indicators on it and consistently make money year after year, decade after decade, without knowing what's really going on, you're fooling yourself. And I want to say that to you honestly and up front, because I see it so often. You've got the software, you know the words and terms, but fundamentally, you're gambling. Successful traders do not gamble. In fact, doing it like that is a little bit like trying to bake the perfect cake by just chucking stuff in a bowl. You know what you need. You need flour, eggs, butter, and sugar, but you aren't quite sure of the sequence in which they need to be put into the bowl. So it's kind of like chucking everything in the bowl at once, hoping it works, stuffing it in the oven with your hand on the temperature knob, peering through the window, hoping these are all going to work out. And of course, this is what you're going to end up with when you open the oven door. And this is pretty much exactly how most amateur traders take their rational approach to trading. They know the terminology, they've got the software, but they don't really know what they're looking for. Let me explain what I mean. Here's a simple chart. We have time across the horizontal axis and price across the vertical axis. So if you look at this unsuspecting area of price here, this is actually what we should be excited about. But this is often ignored entirely by amateur traders. That's because when you don't know what you're looking for, you're relying on a different type of signal to get you into a position, and that signal is often referred to as FOMO, or the fear of missing out. What that really means is the amateur waits until he sees confirmation of the move, such as this, and then scurries to get his position on. He thinks the market is moving, but in reality, it has already moved, and he really should be moving on. Actually waiting for the confirmation of the move ensures that the move has already happened, and now is exactly the wrong time to place a buy trade or a long position. And of course, then the inevitable consequence is, as we now see, the market will play out like this, and our friend will get kicked out for a painful loss. This is how most new traders are getting shaken out. They get into the position when the markets are exciting. That's literally the opposite of the way it should be done. In fact, the real way to do it is to have a strategy. And trading strategies are something we're going to go into in great detail a little later on. And in fact, I'm going to teach you a trading strategy from start to finish, really step by step and in great detail. And that's called the trend wave, and it's a strategy I've used to generate a small fortune. Well, that's going to come up in a few moments. So whatever you do, Don't go anywhere. At the end of today's session, you'll be able to take it away and start using it for yourself, and that's something you're going to really enjoy. When it comes down to it, this session is really all about saving time and creating choice. Traditionally, trading as an activity has been quite time intensive. And it's the sad fact of life in the 21st century is that we're all time poor. We've all got hundreds of things that need doing. And so really the concept of the lifestyle trader is how we save time, create more choice for ourselves using smart charts. And this is going to be really important for those of you that have tried trading in the past. You probably don't know where to start exactly. You probably spend your days looking through lots of different charts, trying to find opportunities. And Smart Charts, on the other hand, has built-in pattern recognition tools that can help you focus your trading analysis more efficiently so you can spend more time on making your trading decisions. We've used it in our trading centers all around the world, and it helps review the markets and presents the information in an easy to understand format. After you've done some initial training, you'll know which opportunities may be the best, which ones may be better to ignore, how to risk manage those opportunities, and then most importantly, how to semi-automate the whole process so you don't have to sit in front of the screen all day long. Okay, for those of you wondering who I am, well, look, I'm Greg Secker. I'm a veteran currency trader. I've been a currency trader for nearly 25 years now, which is pretty much a quarter of a century. It was complete serendipity. I've never set out to become a trader. In fact, it's actually quite difficult for anybody to leave college and become one. It's normally something you fall into. But at the beginning of my career, I had lofty ambitions of becoming a vet and even studied animal physiology at university. But after having spent pretty much a short period of time in the equine fertility unit in Cambridge, spending time with horses with my hand in places you really don't want to know about, I quickly threw cold water on those ambitions and I gave up on the idea entirely. And so for a while, it's true to say I was pretty disillusioned with my career prospects. I'd spent years learning a skill I really had no desire to use. And that was a tough time for me because the future was suddenly fuzzy and uncertain, whereas in the past, I'd always felt that the future was laid out for me, like a clearly defined path, and all I had to do was follow it. So I did spend some time reviewing my options, and that wasn't really until my dad said to me, perhaps a career in the city was a better fit for me. And so I started off as an entry-level IT guy on one of the most prolific trading floors in the city. Here's a picture of me there at the age of 21, and I can tell you now that I was the worst paid person on that trading floor, surrounded by people who were earning considerably more than I was, and they were all talking about things I had never even heard of. So my job back then was simply to support the traders by getting their computers back up and running as quickly as possible if they crashed, which, given it was the 90s, that happened quite a lot, as you might imagine. And basically that meant unplugging the machine from the wall, plugging it back in, and for 95% of the time, that would fix the problem. That was literally my job when I was starting out. Now, you could have probably replaced me with an extension cord and a well-placed power switch in the first few weeks of that job, and no one would have probably been any the wiser. And as you can imagine, that doesn't really scream job satisfaction. So it certainly wasn't easy back then. But one thing I did have was drive, and being around all of those traders, just being in their presence, did reignite a lot of my ambition. I wanted to be as smart as them. I wanted to be as savvy as them. And so I stuck it out. And I'm desperately glad I did, because I went on to discover that I had a lot more going for me than I'd probably given myself credit for. I ended up progressing very quickly at this job. It wasn't long before I was asked to move on from the power cord duty to building and coding simple systems to help the traders with their day-to-day tasks. And as time went on, those systems naturally grew more and more complex and then became pretty much mini software packages. Now, I learned very quickly I could probably leverage the same technology I was developing at work to maybe start making a few quid for myself at home. After all, the traders at work were doing it and I was helping them to do it. And so in my mind, that was a recipe for success. What could go wrong? Everything. To say it didn't go well in the early days is perhaps somewhat of an understatement. I blew up a number of trading accounts. In fact, I blew up 5 trading accounts in the space of about 3 to 4 weeks. And that's because whilst I was listening in to what the traders were doing, I was copying them without really understanding how they were recognizing and assessing opportunities or managing their risk. The truth was, I could code the principles or functions into software, but I didn't really have the tacit knowledge to understand what it really meant. And that was a sad realization for me. I had free access to all the knowledge around me, but I couldn't figure out the key to make all of the pieces fit together. And then really one day I had the most important cup of coffee of my entire life. On that particular day, I'd salvaged one of the trader's accounts. I'd got his machine back up and running, and I quickly bought back all his open positions. And it transpired in that case, my quick actions had saved him a little bit shy of $150,000. And he was, I've got to say, pretty grateful to say the least. Now, in fact, he bought me a cup of coffee at our local Costa Coffee across the road and ended up giving me some advice, which certainly was one of the main keys that pulled everything together. And to this day, pretty much has definitely stood the test of time. He introduced me to a concept known as strategy trading. Now, what is strategy trading? Well, at its simplest, it's a way of recognizing opportunities, but most importantly, knowing what to do and when to do it. Strategy trading is knowing that certain currencies do certain things at certain times of the day. For now, all you need to understand is that trading strategies is like having all the knowledge you would normally need to retain in your head built into a recipe or formula. That's for when and where to buy or sell, where to set your risk limits, and when and where to take your profits or cut your losses. It's that straightforward. And this is something we're going to be expanding on later in this session, because this information turned out to be the key that unlocked many doors for me. And so after that discovery, things started to go quite well for me, actually. The systems I was developing were suddenly incredibly effective, and that's because I knew what to do and I knew when to do it. It was effectively a blueprint. It wasn't long before I was getting recognized for the work I was doing. Remember, look, this is all back in around 1998, a time when the internet was just kind of getting going. We didn't have the super fast internet speeds we do now. I was elected to run a project to build one of the first currency trading systems called the Virtual Trading Desk, which could support most of the big interbank market. And I did that on technology that you could literally run on your phone today. And for that, I won an award from British Telecom for innovations in e-business. Now, that's an award British Telecom handed out to people who were building systems that were about to revolutionize the world. Here I am at 22 getting that award, and you can probably tell from the lines around my face now that I've been doing this for a very long time, which means that I've been building trading technology and developing innovative trading systems alongside successful traders for at least the last 2, nearly 3 decades. After that, I quickly reached a point where I was making way more trading my own money than I was in my regular 9-to-5 job. And for me, it became an obsession. I'd probably spend 95% of my waking hours trading every asset I could get my hands on. And I've done pretty well off the back of it. Before I was 26 years old, I'd already made my first £2 million. Now, everyone wanted to know how I was generating this money, because as far as everyone was concerned, I was an IT guy. Then all of a sudden, I've transformed into somebody that's working on trading floors around the world, developing trading systems, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, driving around in very salubrious sports cars. Nobody could quite understand it. And I was accused of having won the lottery by my friends from school. In fact, the national lottery in this country had only just started a few years earlier. So to say I amassed lots of friends in a short space of time is somewhat of an understatement. I think at one point I remember having 20 odd people camped out on my lounge room floor, all drinking coffee, trading on the currency markets, and I thought that was brilliant. My girlfriend at the time thought it was horrific, so we then set up what eventually became Learn to Trade, our very first training center and trading floor. And that was very successful at teaching people not only what to do and when to do it, but by coaching people and supporting them with incredible technology, we've transformed many thousands of people over the last 18 years into successful self-directed traders, people who otherwise would have never gotten into this. Nowadays, I'm regarded as one of the top trader coaches in the world today. My organization has received many, many, many awards. I've trained over 300,000 people. I've been on more TV shows than I care to remember. Been invited to speak alongside some incredibly important people, celebrities. I'm invited to speak at all sorts of wealth expos around the world, showcasing how we trade live, how we teach people to trade using that very same clever technology, which has now, by the way, evolved beyond all recognition and now includes the experience of all the traders I employ across my trading floors around the world. And today it's evolved up to the point that anyone from the age of 18 up to 80 can use it without any issue. And the output from all of this has allowed me to live an incredible quality of life. My mornings are spent trading the markets for a couple of hours, and the rest of the day is about looking after my health, tinkering with technology, spending quality time with my kids, interfacing with my amazing team of traders and engineers, and brainstorming new exciting ideas. I started my first YouTube channel a while back and I got 50,000 subscribers in the first 5 months. We've now thundered way past that number, and my aim is to have 1 million subscribers in the next couple of years. These are the kind of things I now have a chance to do with my time. But most importantly, I've had the chance to help and serve others, which for me, honestly, has been the greatest source of joy in my life. Off the back of all of this, I created a charitable foundation, and we've actually built an entire village of 100 homes for people affected by the 2013 typhoon that caused untold devastation in the Philippines, keeping them safe from future typhoons and supplying them with all the tools to become self-sufficient. And this is a project I'm going to show you in greater detail a little later on, because the amount of immense personal satisfaction that came from running this project, which by the way took many years to accomplish, far outstrips anything I could have ever dreamt of back as a young adult. These tools have given me opportunities that I can't even put into words. But let me just say this, my results aren't typical. Your results will vary from mine. And the reason I say that is, look, I am a bit of a maniac. I started currency trading like a banshee. I was trading 16 hours a day. I've worked across 7 trading floors around the world, networking with the highest profile traders, technologists, developers, quants, you name it. So I've lived this at the most intense level you possibly can. And I don't necessarily feel that everybody has to go into it at that level. But I'm just one of those people who like to do things 150%. I believe in life, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So understand that whilst I became a multimillionaire in my 20s and effectively retired at 27 years old, my work since then has been about taking all that knowledge I've gained, simplifying, systemizing it, organizing it into bite-sized chunks so that other people like yourself can benefit from all the knowledge without going through the same decades-long learning curve I have. Now look, I've given you a fair amount of preamble today so far, so just ahead of the more involved content now, can you just give me a yay or a nay in the chat box if you're following along and if this is making sense so far? I just want to make sure that I'm on track. Now, I hope you're enjoying the session so far. Yes, it looks like you're all still with me. Thank you very much for doing that. Right, let me show you something fun. I'm actually going to show you a trading challenge I set myself a while back. Now, this is a demonstration of how the software works. Of course, I've been trading for many years and I'm demonstrating this on a slightly larger account, but just take a look at this.
Okay, so we've got some weakness on sterling. You can see that now on this main pivot point chart. In fact, if I just move this chart a little bit to the left here, you can see that we've broken through quite clearly now on sterling. So I'm going to take a market trade live, which means an at market order. I'm going to put my stops. Now, Smart Charts cleverly knows where I want to take that position. I'm going to increase my risk on this, interestingly, to 3%. Slightly higher than normal, but not massively higher than normal, only 1% higher. But we have some decent downside potential here. Market's moving. I'll get that trade on, hit confirm. That means the stop here is above this high point or this moment of reaction after crossing through the what we call the S, it's a support 2 level. So the support 1 level is above. If we look up here, I'll show you. This is our S1 level here. We're now onto the S2 level. And you can see this is just the spread on the trade. And we expect this to move further to give us our little profit target. If we go to our trades, you can see this trade is in play. Nice way to use Smart Charts actually to look at how when a nice area of support like this has got breached, which you can see is just happening as we speak. We're looking for a nice little movement to the downside. We're looking to take profit at 25.16. We're taking a profit here. We're taking a 20 pip movement to the downside. Nice trade, simple trade. Let's see how it plays out. So let's have a look at how that cable trade is now panned out. We've taken the profit on that trade. Again, just nice, simple from our S1 level straight down to our S2 levels where the market is trading now. If I click on any of these green flags, it will show us the trade details. So as expected, we took 250 lots. We made a profit of £5,075. Just a very small trade just to get our feet wet today. But very simple movements. Sterling is coming a bit softer, as we can see, running from that S1 to S2 level. And that trade is now complete.
Okay, so I'm actually going to teach you a trading strategy right now from beginning to end. So grab your pad and grab your pen. Now remember, if this goes too fast, I'll be sending you a replay of today's session so you can watch it at your leisure. This is my gift to you for being on today's web class. And just to demonstrate to you that, look, I'm not interested in selling you a course or a program. I'd rather educate you so you're fully armed with the knowledge of what this is all about and what it takes to be successful in this. And later on in the session, I'm going to talk to you about whether you're really cut out for this. And I think that's the fairest, respectful, and most responsible thing I can do for you at this point. Strategy trading is the epicenter of a lifestyle trader's world. It means you're using proven systems that provide both information and an easy way to help choose where to get in and where to get out. It's a clearly defined, unbiased, unemotional set of rules that, if followed, attempts to mirror the performance of that strategy and therefore can be something you will learn to trust. It's also like, it's almost like the exact opposite of guessing, gambling, or having a flutter. You should see a trading strategy as a recipe, just like the recipe we needed for that cake we made, but it's a recipe for the ideal trade, if you will. It tells us exactly what the ideal setup should look like, when to get in, when to get out, and how much to risk for optimal performance. So let's now dig a little deeper and get a more in-depth understanding of how a trading strategy works in real time. Here's another chart. And again, time is across the bottom, price is on the side. What you will first need to understand is that markets work in phases or cycles. Consider the following uptrend. And by uptrend, I mean that for this period of time, price is generally moving in an upwards direction. Now let's wind this back and break this uptrend into its consecutive phases. See this first move up, which is consistent with the overall uptrend. We refer to this as a phase one movement. This phase one movement is moving in the same direction as the overriding uptrend. That is to say, up. So that's phase one. Now, the end of phase one, when it tops out, we expect the market to move back towards the trend line, signifying what we call a phase two movement or a retracement. And this is price effectively moving against the overriding uptrend. Markets tend to move in the same way our lungs do when we breathe in and when we breathe out. As with all things in nature, there has to be a positive and there also has to be a negative. And so when you look at any market, you'll see this back and forth movement. Nothing goes up or down forever. And it's important for us to realize this straight off the bat. Markets move in phases and cycles. And just this little bit of very basic knowledge can give us a very big clue as to when the market is primed for buying and primed for selling. So let's have a look back at where the novice, right, if you remember, the amateur trader, where he would buy from the previous example. Well, as we said before, this is where the market has already been moving in this direction for quite some time. And the trader thinks it's going to continue endlessly. He's waited for the absolute confirmation and is expecting the market now to continue in this direction, completely unaware of the phases and market cyclicity that is in play. And this is how he's getting kicked out for a loss. But if we look along this trend line, we see the junction of where phase two ends and a new phase one begins. And in fact, that is our ideal buy point. Now you might be now considering, well, why don't amateurs just enter at this point then? Well, let's think about what's happening here, but without the future already confirmed. To the amateur trader, they think that phase 2 is going to continue endlessly and now consider that the market is falling. Again, they are failing to understand that markets work in phases or cycles. So the big question becomes, how do we know when phase 2 is ending and phase 1 is recommencing? In other words, how do we identify that signal, that all-important signal that a phase change may be about to occur? For me to explain this to you, we need to understand a little bit more about the anatomy of these little price bars, which paint the story of how a currency fluctuates throughout the day. Let's wipe the screen clean and bring up a single bar. So let's take a look at a red bar or a seller's bar, and you'll see that it's comprised of 4 components called the open, high, low, and close prices. These really paint a clear picture of how price has moved over the segment of time the bar represents, and this could be an hour, a day, really any portion of time. The components represent where the price was when the bar was opened, what the highest price was, what the lowest price was, and then finally what the price was when the bar finished or closed. The left handle is always the opening price and the right handle is always the closing price. So clearly, the greater the distance between the opening price and the closing price, the greater the indication of a strong move in that direction. And of course, in this case, downwards. Let's take a look at an example of the type of bar we're looking for, one that may indicate that the market is in fact changing direction from phase 2 back to phase 1, and therefore providing us with an ideal buy entry point. So let's focus on phase 2, the sell-off phase, which we expect to be characterized by red seller bars. And as we near the end of phase 2, we're looking for bars where the open and the close start getting closer together. And that small distance now between the open and close prices indicates uncertainty. In other words, the distance from where the bar opened to where it closed doesn't have much space between them. It might have moved about wildly whilst the bar was in play, but then it came back and closed pretty much around the same price it opened. This therefore could be an indication that selling in this case is coming to an end, and buyers are imminently rejoining the market. We make that determination from the fact that the sellers were in control and then the buyers pushed the price back up, and so the assumption is that this buying momentum will now continue. So again, what we're doing here is we're looking for clues that the phase 1 movement may be starting again. In fact, let's have a little fun now. As I said before, I want this to be an interactive experience for you all, and I want to make sure you are all understanding this so far. So I'm going to show you a simple example to illustrate the point, and I want you all to get involved. Are you ready? Imagine I'm a bus driver and I'm driving my big yellow bus. Here's the bus. And here you see that there are 3 bus stops that have appeared. They are the $2 bus stop, the $5 bus stop, and the $10 bus stop. So what is the name of the game here? Well, I'll tell you. It's the classic buy low, sell high routine. The point of the game is to buy for $2 and sell for as much as we can. Fair game? This bus is going to move between these bus stops, and I want you all to decide when to get on. All I need you to do is to type buy when you want to get into the market, any time after the bus has started moving. So fingers at the ready. And off we go. Bus is moving. It's quite a slow bus. That's okay. It's giving you a chance to think this through. Oh, I see a couple of you are buying already. That's quite a high price at the moment. Remember, we want to buy low and sell high. Now, who wants on for $5? Anybody? I think a couple of you do apparently for some reason. Remember, the intention is to buy low and sell high. I'd say we're at about the $3 mark now, and yep, here it comes. Now, here's the flurry of all your buys as we now stop at the $2 bus stop. Okay, great. But is it great? Now look. Another bus stop has appeared, and it's the $1 bus stop. So those of you in a hurry to jump on the bus at $2 are now 50% down on your investment as we stop at the $1 bus stop. I guess we're not feeling so smart now. So what do we need to do here? What is the error we've made? Well, look, we need the bus to be heading in the right direction before we get on at $2. And that means it needs to go around the roundabout first. And after going around the roundabout, now is the right time to enter the trade at $2 and get on the bus, because now the bus is headed in the right direction. The significance of the roundabout in this example here cannot be understated. Remember, this is about how the markets move in cycles, and being unaware of this is one of the things that gets new traders into trouble. So what is the equivalent of this roundabout in our trading example? Well, for us, it's this type of bar right here, which we talked about earlier, where the price opens here, goes down and tests the low, and then returns and closes pretty close to where it opened. And for this reason, we call it a low test bar. They're quite easy to spot, in fact, because they all, more or less, have this characteristic T shape. If we go back to our example here, let it play out, and then examine the points at which phase 2 or the retracement ended, and then phase 1 restarted, you'll notice here that each one is punctuated by a low test bar. These are our roundabouts, as signified by the blue arrows here. So how can we take this information, package it up, and take advantage of it? Let's have a look. Well, if you remember, I said a trading strategy is about knowing what to do and when to do it. I've explained that we are waiting for the end of phase 2 and are hoping for phase 1 to recommence. And now we have a low test bar indicating that the price has gone around the roundabout and that now may be a good time to buy in this example. This is the signal we've been looking for. We now have a pattern, something solid that we can program into the smart chart system. And in fact, this is actually one of the strategies you'll find already pre-programmed in the smart chart system, and it's called the trend wave or T wave. The T wave has a series of rules coded into it. You are of course welcome to copy these rules down if you'd like to. That's most certainly my gift to you. And I'll send you the link after this web class to a replay to enable you to do that. So you can go off and use this quickly yourself. But all of these rules have been turned into code, pre-programmed into smart charts, and then this code scans all the markets in real time for precisely these conditions. And when it finds the best representation of the strategy rules, according to all the parameters, it will do this. It sends you a simple signal. So if you were sent this signal and you wanted to place this trade, you can do that very simply, like so. And when the market breaks through this line, as it's doing so here, you're in the market. And then when it breaks through the blue line, the system automatically banks a profit for you. And all of that is pre-programmed into smart charts for you. And hopefully now you can see how pain-free a process using smart charts really can be, especially to a beginner trader, someone who's just coming into the game. Having this type of clarity can certainly give you an edge as compared to the other way of doing it, which is going through the charts one by one, trying to find those setups yourself, which is time consuming, it's frustrating. It's not really an environment that lends itself well to making progress through a learning curve. Now look, if that looked almost say too easy, that certainly is testament to the last 2 decades of fine-tuning and coding that myself and my trading team have done. We've tried to make this entire process as simple, or should I say as elegant a process to follow as humanly possible. And if you don't know the difference between simple and elegant, well, simple is, well, just that, it's simple, but elegant is something that's actually very complex at the heart, but very simple on the face of it. So you could say a beautiful wristwatch is elegant because on the face it's telling you the time, but behind the face are hundreds of gears perfectly in line, working, well, for want of a better word, like clockwork. And that's exactly what smart charts is. It's elegant. At its heart, it's decades of professional trader experience, but on the face of it, it's actually very simple to use and understand. And I hope that analogy makes sense. So just as a recap on that, smart charts is looking for trend waves. And in fact, It's also looking for a few other trading strategies that I'll try and walk you through later on if there's time. Once it has found the strategy, it is alerting you to it. You agree to the trade, and then the system manages that trade to completion, whether that means closing the trade for a 2% loss or banking an uncapped profit for you. And that is a very basic overview of how Smart Charts works. Okay, so you might be wondering why this webinar is free and why I'm showing this strategy so clearly. Look, what I've discovered in the last nearly 20 years of teaching people to trade is that half of the people who really want to make a success of this are simply not cut out for it from a personality profile perspective. It simply wouldn't be right to trawl the ocean for as many people as I can put on the program, because effectively my results would be halved by virtue of the fact that despite having access to the best trading strategies, if their mindset is very much that of a gambler, it's going to be very difficult to get them to be a great success at this. As part of our trader selection program, we run a personality profiling coaching session, which costs just shy of $300. And because you are on the webinar today, I'm going to be providing the first 12 complimentary on me. Okay, so before we go any further, you should now see a little window pop up. And if that's come up, just give me a little shout in the chat box. Great, thanks guys. Now look, there's 12 of those strategy call windows and they're going to pop up right now. And I'm going to be paying for these on your behalf. That means that the first 12 people who take up this offer, they'll get it for free. I'll cover the cost for you entirely. Now you want to be really budgeting about 45 minutes to an hour for one of these calls. It's not a sales call. It's a strategy coaching call with one of my team from our trading floor. And they're going to really help you understand if your innate instincts are in line with the 4 personality traits that increase your probability of being successful. And I can tell you right now, I've met many people that are desperate to become successful currency traders, but they're just not cut out for it on account of their psychological personality profile. So we're going to be asking you a series of in-depth questions. This is really an investigation into your cognitive mind, your instinctive mind. It's people that follow rules, show discipline, don't gamble, aren't emotionally erratic, and so on. They're the ones that can go on and make it in this game. But there's a lot more to it than that. The only way we can really ascertain that is by getting you on a call and going through those questions with you. We'll then supply you with the personality profile, which then is yours to keep. The documents will then be emailed to you and are yours to keep whatever you choose to do after that point. I can assure you this, the value created by just taking the time to put those documents together is priceless in itself. And I'm sure you'll agree, to have a professional sit down with you and help you do it free of charge is a great start and it's a great opportunity. So please do ensure that you book yourself onto that 45-minute strategy call. Do it now. Now, for some people, it's going to be a slam dunk. You know, we're the kind of, or perhaps you're the kind of individual that you already know you're disciplined, you're self-directed, you're slightly competitive, and you believe in building a skill set. And if so, it could be a great fit for you. Now, there are 12 of those strategy call windows that are going to be popping up right now. So grab one of them whilst you can. So let me show you now what trading on smart charts looks like practically. I've shown you the trend wave strategy, so you have a basic understanding of it working. You now know we're looking for a low test bar and we're trying to pick up a movement from phase 2 back into phase 1. So let me just get smart charts loaded up here. And here we have a typical vanilla chart, nothing complex on it, it's just the price. And we can see here that we're looking at the Euro USD, which is the European Euro versus the US dollar. One of the most widely traded currency pairs in the world, very common. You'll have seen it on the board when you exchange your money at the airport. You'll also notice that there are many, many, many markets to choose from. Here we have the British pound against the US dollar, the European Euro against the British pound, and so forth. In fact, the list is quite extensive. And even here, you are only seeing the most common pairings. And in fact, you also should know that we're only looking on a single time frame. In this case, we're looking at a daily chart. That's denoted by the D1 in this box here. I could also just as easily be looking at this H4 or the 4-hour time frame, and the trend wave signal could be present on any one of them. So the question then becomes, once we've decided to use a trading strategy, in order for us to now execute on it, just so that we can use it, we are now going to have to spend time clicking through many different pairings, checking them on different time frames, and manually looking for that signal bar we talked about. And we could end up doing this for hours. This is a job for a computer. In fact, it's the perfect job for a computer, for exactly the same reason we don't have people standing at road junctions holding stopwatches and changing the traffic lights by hand. So, wouldn't it be great if someone had spent years developing a system that could scan the market in real time? Well, there you go. This is how we do it on smart charts. What you're looking at here is what we call the strategy scanner. The scanner is searching all the markets for signals that match the trading strategy rules in real time. In fact, the software is scanning many times a second and then recognizing and bubble sorting the best opportunities to the top of the list. We are looking for trend waves right now, and here amongst a number of other trading strategies built into the system, you'll see a number of trend wave opportunities that the scanner has found. And it'll even tell you what time frame it's found them on. See here? And so all I have to do now is to click it once, and it will bring up the relevant chart and show me the signal bar and the opportunity in full. And in fact, the software isn't just searching for this one bar, it has also searched for that extensive set of rules, if you remember, that I showed you earlier. So it's ensuring that all of these rules of the strategy are being met. For example, that these two moving average lines are in the correct order, that we're on a time frame that is valid for the strategy, and so forth. So you can see that the amount of work it's actually doing for you is pretty substantial. And that is how this is saving time. It's making it as straightforward for you as possible. And as a result, your time is spent examining the opportunities it is presenting rather than searching for the opportunities from scratch. Let's look at the trade that's being called here. Let me see if I can zoom in on this part of the screen here so it's clearer. No, oh, there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at what is being called here. We can see a nice phase 1, phase 2 here. If the market was to now move in this direction, we're likely to be seeing a similar phase 1 again. Let me zoom back out here. Okay. I like the look of this trade, and so I'm going to take it. And to do that is as simple as noticing that one of the buy or sell buttons will be glowing. In this case, the red button is glowing because this is a sell, or what we call a short trade. Once I click the button, it's going to show me a summary of the trade. That's the exact prices that we are going to be getting in and out at. But I want you to look here. Here is where we input how much of our account we risk on this trade. Now we can adjust this to anything, of course, but by default, this will show you 2%. So I'm happy with all of this. The system knows where to get in, where to take a profit, and it knows where to stop out. If I move the screen along a bit here, I can see how much I'm going to make when the price hits the green spot. And all this work is all done for me. If I decided I wanted to take more profit, all I really need to do is move the marker to wherever I want it. And the math is all updated in the background. Now look, I'm happy with my trade. I can now hit go. That's this little green button here, and that trade will be locked in and ready to go. And even now, after I've placed it, I can simply adjust it by clicking on these lines. And I can decide perhaps to move my take profit to a different level. The more I move it up, you can certainly see the more money I'd make. However, I'm going to leave it where it is. The strategy knows what it's doing, and so I'm just going to cancel this little adjustment. So here we are. It's ready. It's waiting. And should that bar now break through here, I'll be entered into that trade. I've really got nothing else to do now. I can, of course, go back to the scanner and see if there are any other opportunities I like the look of, or I can go in and have a look at my current list of trades by clicking here. Now, if I click on a pending now, that's a trade we just placed together. It's in my pending trades list, of course, because I've just put it in and it hasn't triggered yet. Once it does trigger, it will move to my list of open trades, which I can access by looking in a different tab. These are my open positions, and as you can see, this little one I placed a little earlier on and is happily running along. And so that's it. That is how simple it is to place a trade using smart charts by using the strategy scanner. But the scanner, of course, is the tool which finds those trading opportunities, pulls them up for you into that simple list, and then you examine them, agree with them, and then within a couple of clicks, you are off and running. Oh, and as you're probably watching in the UK, I forgot to mention, and as I should probably bring up the fact that you are actually able to trade currencies tax-free in the United Kingdom using a system called spread trading. That means any gains or profits you make from trading are tax exempt. That's obviously pending your own personal individual tax advice, of course, but the current law helps UK traders keep more of their profits, reinvest them, and then grow their accounts even faster, which of course is nice. Now let's have another look at smart charts now and see how I use the system.
So let's just have a look at how successful this is. Every trade I've placed using a trend wave will have a flag on it, and I click on the flag icon here and it shows my trades that I have placed. So if I click on this trade here, I've made a profit of £6,150, made 24.6 profits. I click on view trade, I can get right into the details of this trade. I can see exactly where I got in, I can look at where my stop loss was, where my take profit was, but the reality of all of this is I don't actually care. I really don't care. I trust this system because it's been pre-programmed with exactly the correct entry, stop, and profit every time, unemotionally takes the trade. So I'm in this position for just an hour and 30 seconds. I wasn't there when the trade triggered. I put the order on. I wasn't there when the trade closed. It banked the profit, and I'm left with a green flag on a chart and some additional cash in my trading account. That's all I'm doing. I'm not sitting here babysitting and managing this trade to completion. And for those of you that are brand new to trading, or for those of you that maybe have used similar systems to this in the past, should find these screens quite exciting. The fact that you can scan, find that setup, put the trade on, not have to worry about those three important things: your entry price, where you get in, your stop loss, of course, where you take profit, and then having that trade managed to completion, and then being able to review those trades, those same trades, on your chart so you can see where you got in and out before, I think is a really cool tool. Let me show you some more. Okay, so let's have a look at another one, Aussie yen. Again, look at the green flags. If I toggle the green flags on or off, they show me the trades that have actually been placed on my account. So we can see this is where I entered. This is short, of course. I'm shorting the market, and this is where I've come out. So there's one trade here, which is a profit of over 10,000. If I click on view the trade, it shows me I'm selling Aussie against yen, 250 lots. Again, I don't need to know where the open price is, where the stop loss is, and where the take profit is. Of course, I want to know where those things are. I want to check that the strategy works. But you've got to understand, this has all been pre-programmed into the platform. So whilst you'll do the educational modules to understand how this works, the system already knows, and it knows where to put you in, where to place your protective stop loss, where to take profit. So this one lasted for 20 hours, took a profit of £10,340.15. And then if we go back, we can see a shorter time frame one here. And again, I did just over £5,000 on this one. Let me click in. So again, Aussie yen, same chart, 250 lots. Again, the open price, stop loss, take profit, pre-programmed, took 3 hours to hit completion, took a profit of 5,816. Okay, and here's a sterling dollar loss trade. You can see actually the system called 3 beautiful profitable trades before, but the one I actually triggered upon, which was the 4th call, was a small loser and lost £1,000. So let me go and look at one more, and you'll get an idea of how quickly the system calls the trades and the performance of it. And here's a final short Aussie Swiss that I played literally 4 or 5 days ago. Aussie Swiss short. Here's your flag. Click on that, and it shows a profit of 10.93, 44 pips of profit. So again, not knowing the opening price, stop loss, take profit, the system does that piece for me. So it's already pre-programmed in. The trade runs for 15 hours. Again, I'm not spending any of those hours in front of the screen. I'm trusting the platform to run the positions to completion and then take and bank the profits.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed those examples. Look, when you take a lifestyle trader approach, you're going to save yourself years of learning, not to mention a hell of a lot of time doing maths and scanning charts, because the work, the scanning, the strategies are all programmed in. You'll be learning in depth on how exactly the strategies work, and then you'll be using the tool to do the work. You'd never use the strategy scanner without first knowing how the strategies themselves work. The beauty is the scanner is going to automate the trades for you. Once you've gone through the scanner, picked a strategy, we found our opportunity. Once we've done all of that, we can then automate the trade, which means the entry price, the stop loss, and the take profit are already pre-programmed into the platform. We then simply pull the trade up and we can adjust any of those elements as we like, finesse it if you like, which will come with experience. And then when we hit go, the trade will run to completion, fully managed by the software. In my opinion, your outcome should really be all about freeing your time up or getting your time back, and becoming a lifestyle trader can be a real route to making that happen. On the far left-hand side of the screen, you'll see what we call active income. Active income is basically where you're exchanging your time for money. You're working hard at a job, you might be a consultant, or you might be managing a small business or a number of businesses, but that is active work. That is hard work, as you probably know, if that's a big part of your life. If you have royalties or patents and you can derive a recurring or passive income from them, that will certainly fall on the passive income side of the chart. Unless you have additional income streams coming into your bank account, your likelihood of being able to become financially independent whilst maintaining at least your current lifestyle is going to be vastly reduced. Investing and trading also falls in this area. And when you're using software such as smart charts, you're effectively using the leverage inherent in the platform. So you've got access to more capital. You've got strict risk management to keep you safe. And then thirdly, you're using intelligent technology to find you the best trading opportunities. And you can see what the most competent traders on the platform are also doing to see how these strategies are being applied to current market conditions. But it must be said that unless you treat this with the same discipline and focus as you do your job, you're unlikely to derive much from it long term. Discipline, strategy, and patience are very important elements, of which all must be present consistently. Now look, if I had access to these tools way back when I started out in this game, I would be grabbing them with both hands. That's because I have the experience to know what their value is. I know how much they contribute to my trading success and how without them, my success would be greatly reduced. However, as I've said to you, I am not interested in enrolling any of you watching right now on this web class to any of my trading systems, to any of my trading platforms, or to any of my trading educational programs, because I want to have a more candid conversation with you. But before I go on, I just want to ask, has your time on this training been well spent? The reason I ask that is I designed this training today to be information rich and to be a really valuable experience. And quite frankly, I didn't want to waste your time. So if you could give me some feedback on if I've managed to do that, I'd really appreciate that. Just use the chat window and let me know. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much. That's brilliant. Look, at this point, you really have two options. You can take what I've taught you here today and have a stab for yourself in getting that to work for you. As you can probably guess, that is not my preferred approach. I've got a much better option for you, which is to get yourself and your trading psychology profile evaluated for free to see if this is a good fit for you. The fact is that not everyone watching this will be cut out for it. And that is the reason I'm not selling anything on this training today. In fact, in my experience, about 50% of the people I've seen attempt to become traders really shouldn't have bothered, to be honest. And in the last nearly 2 decades of my life, and having trained over 300,000 people, I've realized that rather than trawling the ocean looking for thousands of people who want to be successful traders, it's much more efficient to spearfish for the right trader personality profile, really before any money is spent on training. I mean, imagine, for example, if you've invested thousands of pounds of your hard-earned money in 6 months of your life in trying to master a skill that, frankly, you aren't cut out for. And it's more than just traits. All the traits in this list are well known to be common in highly successful currency traders. And they're all very important because they all assist with achieving the identity of a highly successful Forex trader. But more important than that, there are also 4 distinct archetypes of traders. An archetype is a personality profile which has specific characteristics to it. We're all born with a set of inbuilt characteristics and instincts that put us somewhere on this chart. We have adventurous, progressive, risk-averse, and systematic on the axis, and each person falls somewhere on this spectrum based on their natural instincts and tendencies. For example, if you fell somewhere here, you'd be what we call a systematic risk-averse trader, and there are pros and cons to each of these. Being systematic means you're all about rules. You're going to be great at following them, and you have a natural inclination towards the technical analysis aspects of trading, and so that's a real benefit for you. But on the other side of the coin, depending on how systematic you are, you could often overthink things. You'll end up confusing yourself and getting caught up in what traders call analysis paralysis. Essentially, this means you could end up making poor decisions, not placing enough trades, or just getting caught up with over-analyzing your positions. The more things we factor into analyzing our positions, obviously the more mistakes we can make. And so systematic traders could have a weakness that they would have to work on with a mentor. So that's one thing to take into consideration. That same trader is also here on the risk-averse side of the spectrum, making them a systematic risk-averse archetype, which altogether is just one archetype out of the four, and the risk-averse aspect means that risk management should come naturally. You're likely to be a patient or realistic person when it comes to placing your trades. You're less likely to be a gambler, because gambling is basically placing trades without having a risk management plan in place. And so if you identify as systematic risk averse, you are already quite nicely up the curve. And being able to identify that you are on that curve should give you the understanding that trading might well be something that you could participate in. But of course, the cons of being risk averse are that you may procrastinate in placing trades in the first place. You may be worried. You may well have placed a couple of losing trades and be concerned that the next trade is also going to lose as a result. Of course, from a rational point of view, it's clear that if you have placed two losing trades, what happens on the next trade really has nothing to do with the previous trades you have placed. And there is no real link between the two losing trades and the next one, except in the trader's mind. So that is the type of problems we see when we're risk-averse traders. Now that's just one of the archetypes. There are, of course, four, and I really don't want to go through each as it could take some time to get through. But the key takeaway I want you to understand is that professional traders live in the middle here, like a bullseye, if you will, on a dartboard. And the game here is about identifying and understanding where on this chart you sit, what archetype you identify as, and how far from the balanced center you are. Once we have that information, we can ascertain if you are trainable enough to be a suitable candidate. If you're going to be constantly hitting the walls here, then you probably find your results are going to be inconsistent. Once we have figured out where you are, if you are a good fit, then it's all about putting a plan in place to bring you somewhere nice and balanced in the middle. So the strategy call session I'm sponsoring for you is all about understanding which archetype you are. You're going to be able to access one of my trader coaches who's going to walk you through a series of questions to help you identify which archetype you are, if you're cut out for this or not. And from there, we can help you carve out a plan to help you get from where you are to really where you want to be. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure you click the box on the right-hand side that's popped up, get your details in there, and then you get the chance to sit with one of my trader coaches entirely for free. Look, there's no trading program for sale here today, but many of you have been asking about the trading program and what it's all about. So I'm going to walk you through what the elements are so you understand it and how they work together, because it is really something you should understand. It's not a 5-minute thing to become a consistent, successful currency trader. It takes time, it takes discipline. In fact, it takes everything you can probably imagine and probably a little bit more. So I've created a fully featured program and broken it down into 8 distinct steps. And I'm going to walk you through those steps right now. First of all, of course, it's all centered around smart charts. Smart charts is the hub where we do all our training, our analysis. Everything happens inside smart charts. Smart charts is also web-based, which means that there is no clunky software to download and install. You simply go to the Smart Charts app from any web browser and you're away. And of course, this means you can use it on your phone, iPad, on a Mac or a PC, anything you like. That means you can check in on your trades wherever you may be at any time. So Smart Charts and all the software costs £1,500 and it has a £69 a month market data fee. Let me talk to you about the market data fee. This is the professional pricing data that feeds the trading application. Now look, there are free trading platforms out there, but free is about as good as what you pay for it, meaning that these free platforms are filled with dummy data, with test data or data that is really uncleansed. So they often produce spikes, false signals, which can cost you a lot more than otherwise paying for real data. But because I've got so many trading floors around the world and I have so many traders participating in the platform, we've managed to negotiate the market data fees down to a reduced rate for smart charts and then pass those cost savings on to our subscribers. So rather than paying £200 or £300 a month for your market data, we get it down to £69 a month, which we think is an amazing opportunity to access some of the best trading signals from professional data. You don't want to be grabbing some free software which is fed by demo data that gives false signals and then putting your money behind it. In England, we call that penny wise and pound foolish, which means saving a few pounds for professional market data and then wasting your account on false signals. Do not do that. So Smart Charts does have an ongoing fee of £69 a month to allow you to trade off professional signals. Now, the second part of the 8-step program is the 2-day training workshop, and this is critical. We don't just let you loose on the platform, we make sure you are trained proficiently over the course of 2 full days from our trading floor in Chelsea. And certainly whilst the country is going in and out of lockdowns and travel restrictions are changing almost weekly, we're offering virtual seats in our training centre so you can attend from the comfort and safety of your own home as the course is delivered as a live interactive broadcast. We've put together all the technology so we can offer you a fully immersive, interactive online experience with our traders. You can learn from the ground up the foundations, the risk management, the strategies, then how that pertains to smart charts. So ultimately, before you place any trades, you'll know exactly how that strategy works, what we're looking for, why we're looking for, what the playbook of that strategy is before you go into smart charts and start hitting buttons. So you'll do 2 days of training with my professional team, broadcasting from our purpose-built, state-of-the-art training centres. And I have to say that the team of trainers and traders that are in the UK are second to none. They are the most dedicated and amazing individuals. And so it's an incredible opportunity to spend 2 days with them, whether that be in person or virtually. I think you're in for a real treat there. So for the 2-day training workshop, we charge £1,000. Then there is our full instruction manual, and this is quite a large technical document, but presented in a very simple format. It's a supplement to the training program and details every single screen and every single strategy, all the risk management systems in full detail, so you can go back and refer to it any time. And for this, we usually charge £250. The fourth step of this 8-step program is our live analysis day. We run these events usually straight after you've gained the experience of the 2-day workshop, and you'll have the opportunity to analyse the markets alongside a group of seasoned traders for an entire trading session. We usually make these charity fundraising days where we have the brokerage donate to feed our charitable foundation, but importantly, you do, of course, get to learn a lot. These days tend to be a hell of a lot of fun, but it's an opportunity to be taken only after you've done your initial training. We usually ask for a donation, often to the foundation for this, of £750. And then the 5th stage is the 3 dedicated one-to-one mentoring sessions. This is where you're partnered up with one of the traders who will then mentor you in a one-on-one fashion where you analyse and trade together using the very strategies you've learned. We use private online one-on-one sessions where you'll be coached and mentored in live market conditions. Of course, this can either be done live and in person, and we are offering this as a private online sessions during this period where social distancing guidelines may apply. I would say that during the 2-day workshop is where you learn to become a trader, but it's during the mentoring sessions where the traders are really made. It's where the rubber hits the road and where the journey begins in earnest. I believe we learn best by doing in context rather than in theory. It's why I believe apprenticeships are more useful to the economy than non-professional degrees. Again, this is not a one-to-many session. This is you and one of our trader mentors one-on-one in a private session. implementing those very same trading strategies on a live platform, meaning you watch the trader analyzing their trades. You then select and demonstrate you're going to find the same opportunities, keeping the risk low, and then trade to completion. So for the 3 one-to-one mentoring sessions, we charge £750. The 6th step is your Learn the Basics course, which we supply to everybody who attends our program. We recently partnered up with an award-winning animation team with the intention of creating the most detailed and clearest explanations of trading concepts on the planet today. And whilst it turned out to be a much bigger task than anyone had ever imagined, we fulfilled on that aim, and we now give these amazing courses to our clients. The Learn the Basics course is the ultimate beginner's guide to the world of currency trading and is truly world-class and entirely unmatched. It is clear, it is precise, and offers an unparalleled look into how trading concepts work. And even though I spent 6 months sweating under insanely hot studio lights to bring you this, we still sell our Learn the Basics course for only £250. That's probably the best value in the entire industry. The 7th step is the Learn Forex digital program. We've digitized our entire Learn Forex course into a crisp, clear, easy to digest program using the same trading animation technology as we showed you before. But this program goes much further and shows in-depth explanations on how all the strategies work, how to spot key bar and chart patterns, and includes chapters on indicators, trade management, and trading psychology. You can watch it one module at a time, or you can binge watch it Netflix style if that's your thing. Let me assure you, however, that you are not going to find anything like this anywhere on YouTube or on the internet for that matter. This is truly exclusive, groundbreaking material. We sell our Learn Forex digital program for £500. And then the final step of the 8-step plan is we allow you to access 2 daily training webinars. Why? Again, context. People learn better when in context. We will push live webinars to you inside Smart Charts, so you can always have a virtual seat on our trading floor in Sydney, Australia, or in London, England, and have access to the traders showing you how they're setting up their day, how they're trading that session, what opportunities they're looking for, and you can see what they're doing before they do it. We think that is completely priceless, but for this launch, we're going to give you the access to that for life for free. So look, your normal investment onto the entire 8-step program would be £5,000. Let me just say this, we are not selling any of our programs on this web class today, and that's for a good reason. We're not looking to trawl the ocean for as many people as we can to throw on this program. This is about spearfishing for the right people. I'm not interested at all in pulling in people who are gamblers, who want to make a quick buck and then deal with the absolute misery of those people who will then blame everybody and everything but themselves. I want people who are serious, decisive and committed. And that means first and foremost, identifying if you're cut out for this. Have you got the right temperament, the right inclination? And we can only really ascertain that after completing a trader psychology strategy call with you. If you do qualify and you see the true value in what I've literally spent decades of my life creating, and hopefully by now, it should be self-evident just how much time and thought has gone into all of this. I'll be able to make you an affordable offer to help get you started, which means I will effectively be investing in you, which in turn, if that turns out to be a good investment and it's a good win-win, then I'm sure as your account grows, you may select to do more with my organization in the future. To me, it's all about the relationship and if it's a good fit. And to make that happen, I'm prepared to take some of the risk off the table for you after we know there's a fair probability of success. So for the lucky 12 that have booked your strategy sessions, that is going to be important because the value of the program, as you can see, is £5,000. But look, if you're not a good team fit, this probably isn't the right opportunity for you. And I'll tell you why. For those people that don't have the right temperament for this, that's not going to work out for you. If you're somebody that likes a flutter, if you're somebody that's not disciplined, you can't follow rules or work to a structured plan, you are definitely going to get your knickers in a twist, if you'll excuse the expression. You're going to find that it's a waste of your time, energy, and effort. And I don't want to have that type of relationship with you in 6 months' time. I'd rather have a relationship with someone this is cut out for, that is a good team fit. And if so, I'm prepared, as are my team, to invest in you pretty heavily to ensure that you get a great start into this career, which, by the way, I think is the best career in the world. And then later on, if you decide to do some further advanced training programs, we'd naturally expect you may want to do that, or some of that training with us. But listen, let me say this, you're under absolutely no obligation to do that. So the offer that I've made to you throughout today's web class is to attend a strategy call, have a real evaluation to see if you are a good personality profile fit for this. That really gets you to the next stage where you know if it's a good idea for you to move forward and then what it's going to take. Okay, I think it's good time to take a few questions. So if you have any questions, please type them into the chat box. I see there's some already. See if I can pick some apart for you. So they're coming through quite quick. They're coming through quite quickly. So let's just jump into the first one. That's from Adam. Adam, thank you very much. First question up. How much money do I need to start trading? Well, it's a great question. My answer to that question would be, really, how long is a piece of string? No, but seriously, you don't need to start with a massive amount of capital. In fact, I'd rather you didn't, because people that say, how much money do I need to start, are the ones that are saying that because they're already thinking about how much money they can make. You shouldn't be thinking about how much money you can make at this stage. You should be thinking about perfecting a skill first, and then you can add as much money as you want. But let me tell you this, until you've got that skill down, until you've got that skill perfected, you shouldn't be thinking about putting 20 or 30% of your life savings into anything. This is all about putting a small amount in, demonstrating and proving that you can make a decent, consistent income from this. Then, after that point, you can add as much capital as you want. I'll be honest with you, I'm not being evasive of the question. You can open a trading account with as little as $500. You aren't going to go very far with $500. But the point of the matter is this. In my view, start small, demonstrate skill, be consistent, do your mentoring, and then you start to scale your account. You can literally open an account with as little as $500, maybe even less. Okay, next question is from Catherine. Hello, Catherine. Thanks for your question, which is, how much, well, okay, standard question. How much should I risk on a trade? Okay, great. So how much should I risk on these trades? Well, look, the default risk inside the platform is 2%. And you can change that to whatever you really want. But I suggest for the first 6 weeks, you actually start trading at around the 1% risk level, just to get your feet wet, keep the risk low, and then we can perhaps increase it to 2% after your results start to improve. So between 1 and 2% on each individual trade. That means if, for example, you're trading with £1,000 account or $1,000 account, you'll be risking £10 or $10 or £20 or $20 on each trade. If you're trading with a £10,000 account, you'll be risking between £100 and £200 per trade. So, Catherine, thank you very much. That's a very useful question. Next question is in from Ben. How long does it take? By how long, I assume you mean how long does it take to become proficient? Well, look, it really depends on a number of factors. The first is your level of commitment. And then, of course, there's your level of discipline and how well you can stick to a set of rules. If you're an individual who's inconsistent with your approach to things, you don't stick to the rules, that's going to be a bumpy journey. I want to be clear about that. The game is all about sticking to the rules, being disciplined, doing what you say you're going to do, and then constantly looking to improve your performance. If you're somebody who's been constantly chasing money in life, then you've probably learned by now that when you chase money, that's the one time you never get it. The real key here is to build up your value. And when you build up your value, the money will then come flowing to you. Let's say, for example, your value as an entrepreneur comes from your ability to make other people's lives better, to solve problems or provide solutions other people haven't been able to. If you can do that, you're going to sell product, you're going to sell things, and the money inevitably comes to you. As a trader, your value as a trader comes from discipline, and discipline. Following rules, doing what you say you're going to do, rather than saying you're going to do something and then do something else. If you do that, your value drops and the money will simply evaporate. So if you consistently do what you say you're going to do, your confidence, coincidentally, will increase, because your confidence is in direct proportion to your reputation of yourself to yourself. If you think about that for a second, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, that confidence will decrease and your value will drop. So it's very easy to make yourself confident in the moment, pump yourself up. But if you really want enduring, ongoing confidence, which by the way is the number one emotional state as a currency trader, you really have to ask yourself, do you keep your promises you make to yourself? Do you really do what you promise yourself you're going to do? And if you don't, why not? When you set goals and then follow through, your confidence will increase because your reputation of yourself with yourself will improve. When that happens, you really don't need anybody else. You can always tell someone who's low in confidence when they post something on Facebook and then within 3 seconds they're looking back to see if they got any likes. That's because they don't trust themselves internally. They're looking for external validation because they haven't built themselves up internally. When you keep your promises to yourself, your confidence soars, your value increases, and that's when the money comes. And that's because money flows to where the value is. And that's just a universal principle in the world. So just concentrate on building up the skill set, building your value up, not chasing the money, and then you'll get to where you want to be. Thanks, Ben. That's a great question. And let me go on to a little tirade there. So thank you very much. Okay, next question is in from Becky. How much time do I need to spend trading each day? Okay. So, well, the whole premise of a lifestyle trader is the reduction of time spent in front of the screen. In fact, there's a pretty solid research now which says the longer people spend in front of the screen on a daily basis, like on a section basis, the worse our performance gets. And that's because we tire. And when we tire, we make poor decisions. That's not total time, obviously. The longer we spend ingraining this, the more professional we become. I'm talking about the number of hours spent trading in one single session. You know, people spend a lot of time looking for good trades to make, but when they're tired, they'll accept anything. People see something that's not there because they're just hungry to get in a position, and that is wrong. That's where the money disappears, and that's when things go south. The game here is to make sure we use clever technologies like smart charts and scanning systems to find the opportunities quickly, and then our brains are as bright, as sharp as a tack, and as bright as a button. That's how you want to be set up. It can be anything from half an hour to maybe 2 hours a day. Certainly no more than that. So Becky, thank you very much for that question. Let me say thank you all for these great questions. I can see, I'll see if I can take a few more in a minute, but I want to just first show you something that's really dear to my heart. I talked a little earlier about my charitable foundation and the opportunities afforded to me by all of this being in my life. And I want to share a little story with you about that. Back in 2013, I remember this day, as clearly as I remember something that happened a week ago. I walked down the stairs one morning to find my Filipino housekeeper at the time in absolute hysterics. It transpired that the night before, one of the largest typhoons in recorded history to ever make landfall had gone directly over the village she grew up in the Philippines, and it decimated entire regions of the country. I'm sure you probably saw it at the news or on the news at the time. When events like this happen in other countries, they dominate the news cycle for a while and then they fade away. And it's probably easy to assume that all turned out well, life goes on, and you end up waiting for the next disaster to happen. But with this, the full force of the events were front and center in our household. It was like a grenade had gone off in our kitchen. I remember it was my son's birthday that morning, and there was absolutely no thought of a celebration. Since all the communication lines had been brought down by the typhoon, she could not get hold of her brothers, her family, her son who was living there. So as you can imagine, she was inconsolable with worry. A few days later, when she finally did get through to them, it transpired they were all okay, which was of course a huge relief, but they weren't injured in any severe way, but their homes were completely destroyed, as were many people's homes in that area. Let me just quickly play this short excerpt of an interview I did to show you what happened after that. The reason we built the village in 2008-2013, Typhoon Han swept through the Philippines, destroyed the livelihoods of thousands of people. My housekeeper and her partner, who are like my second mum and dad, they were devastated when I walked down on November the 9th and I switched on Sky News, and there the devastation was. We literally just flew out to the Philippines 24 hours later. I've got money in the bank, I've got trading floors all around the world, I produce a lot of cash. And it's one of those things where I didn't have to think too long. I think sometimes the right decision just comes to you. It's just like a sixth sense or, intuition or just a gut feeling. I think you've got to trust your instincts, you've got to trust your gut. And so I said, why don't we just take care of everyone in this region? So we kind of literally took kind of a circle on a map and we said, we're going to rehouse everyone in this area, which was 586 people in a pretty rural part of the Philippines. And those people were literally living under palm trees in disused schools in a pretty tough condition. So it was a gargantuan project. We flattened a jungle. We built the roads, we built the utilities, we built all the networks and everything from the roads to the waste, to the sewage, to the water regeneration plants, to everything, the school. We built secondary, and then we built 100 homes for 506 people. And then we went on and built a bakery, and we now have a moringa farm. Probably one of the most successful livelihood programs in the world. A livelihood program is whereby you don't just give people a home, but you create a life for them. So there's a way for them to earn money, for their families to prosper. We importantly gave the deed of each property to the homeowner, so they actually felt they owned their property. It wasn't ever going to be taken away from them. And then we create an opportunity for them to make money. And I have to say, that project, that's one of those things that's like dropping a pebble, into a lake. The ripple effect of that has been beautiful. Every single day I get a WhatsApp string of messages from a WhatsApp group I'm in of all the incredible, amazing things that are happening in our village. We've got babies, we've got marriages, we've got a couple of deaths of old people that passed away with dignity and respect. I remember thinking to myself, well, look at what we did. I'm just going to stop it there because I think I've shown you the most important parts. Now, that project took many years of my life and so far has been the biggest project that I've run within my charitable foundation, and it continues to this day. The consequences for my life from that have been overwhelmingly positive. I can't put into words how grateful I am to just been able to contribute in that way. I just wanted to give you a little insight into what can be accomplished when you're not spending most of your time stuck in the 9 to 5. For 50% of you that are cut out for this, there is a lot of potential to be unlocked when you start down this road. And there are so many people with so much potential, but that potential stays locked up because they do not believe in the beauty of their dreams. I'm telling you now, belief is where it all starts. It's the first step, if you will. If you don't have belief in the first place, your chances in achieving what you want to do may as well be zero. Let me explain why. Take a look at this cycle here. This is the belief cycle. Everything you do, every objective you set as a goal goes through this cycle, whether you know it or not. At the top, we have the word belief. The strength of your belief in your ability to do something is the starting point. The amount of belief you have determines the amount of potential you can tap into. And believe me when I say I haven't met very many people that have accessed what I think is all the potential they have. The amount of potential you tap into determines the amount of action you'll take. And of course, in all things, you could take a little bit of action or you could take massive action. And finally, the results you get are going to vary considerably based on the amount of action you take. Now, here's the magic part. This is a feedback loop. Your results feed back into your beliefs, and you can either make your beliefs stronger or weaker. For example, let's say you wanted to lose some weight, but secretly you kind of feel or know it's not going to work. After all, you've tried this 5-6 times already, and the results have been the same. You're going to maybe lose 3 or 4 pounds and then end up putting on 5 pounds back when you finish. You have very little belief of getting real results. So guess what? You're not going to tap into a lot of your potential. Only a very small amount of your brain power is going to be activated into solving this problem. The potential you tap into is small, and so your action is going to be small. You're not going to cook that healthier meal. You'll have a cheeky snack here or there. You'll find all sorts of excuses not to go for that run, so your results are going to be small. And then you're going to say, see, I knew it. This was never going to work. I was right. But let's say you had a strong belief to begin with. You would unlock the potential locked up in your brain. You'd find clever ways to motivate yourself to stay on target. You'd probably set yourself intelligent rules, and therefore the action you would take would be massive. And as a result, your results would be great, and that would feed back into your belief. You'd be confidently walking around going, yep, I knew I could do it. In both these scenarios, it's the same person. The only difference was the amount of belief they had in the first place. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There is such a thing as belief transference. That is the passing of belief from one person to another. That is why when I started this business years back, I knew that one of the most important elements of any training program was going to be the one-to-one mentoring aspect. You see, when you sit shoulder to shoulder with someone who actually knows what they're doing, and you see them implementing strategies successfully, belief transference says, look, just by associating with you and being in your company, I see that I am similar to you in so many ways that the probability of me being as successful as you now seems more realistic. This is one method you can use to immediately give your belief a boost, and that's why it's always been part of the 8-step program. And of course, the other thing you get when you spend time in the company of people who live and breathe trading is shortcuts. You can do this the long way and find all the obstacles and attempt to navigate them for yourself. That will certainly take you longer. Or you can discover all the shortcuts from somebody who's been on the journey for a hell of a long time. There is nothing quite like sitting in a one-to-one mentoring session. Now look, this is a powerful tool that I just wanted to share with you that you can use really in any area of your life. Okay, I think we're probably coming towards the end of today's session. Don't forget to book your strategy session. I would hate the right person to miss this opportunity because I truly believe this is going to be the opportunity of a lifetime to the right individual. Again, you need to budget 45 minutes for your personality profiling. Now look, not all of you are going to pass the application phase. There are only 12 slots available. I sponsor those slots because we pay our trader coaches quite a bit to participate and run those trader strategy sessions. So for those of you that are unsuccessful, regardless of whether your application is successful or not, I'm going to give you a bonus for participating and being in today's session. I'm going to give you the 7 Secrets of Master Traders video series that's valued at £497. We've been selling that on the internet for the last few years. That's going to be yours entirely for free, just for filling out the application form. Well, it appears I've run over on today's session by a tad. Listen, to everybody who's asked questions on today's web class, thank you so much. Sorry I didn't have a time to respond to all of them, but I just wanted to say thank you for your participation. It's been a real pleasure working through this session with you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you've got a lot of value from this, and I'll email you the recording of today's web class so you've got that to go through at your leisure. If you have any further questions, please do not forget to email those in. And for those of you that have not clicked on the application link, if there are any spots still available, I would suggest you take that now. I'll leave you now with a small video of some of the people that went through my program the last couple of years, and then you can understand what their journey was like and see if it will encourage you to do the same thing too. I look forward to seeing you on one of our trading floors. I look forward to having you as a member of Smart Charts, and I look forward to serving you in the future.
I've been a nuclear physicist for over 25 years.
I used to be very much in the film industry.
I was an engineer.
I got an invitation to a seminar and I attended it, and I was incredibly skeptical.
I needed to find something that I could, balance being a mum with.
I have to admit that until the day I was actually sitting in the class and we started the course, I was incredibly pessimistic. But within a couple of hours of sitting in and going through the materials and being coached through it, I knew this was exactly what I was looking for.
The tutors over there were amazing. They pretty much hold your hand through the beginning and sort of get you through the very basics of reading the chart.
On one hand, one of the most difficult things I've ever done, but on the other hand, it's one of the easiest things I've ever done.
It doesn't need any financial background, it doesn't need any financial knowledge.
I found everybody at the centre amazingly supportive.
And I was in the course, I was like, wow, every single person over here is just so helpful.
They're very friendly and welcoming, but also there's a lot of guidance.
It's a step-by-step learning process that actually guides you.
It's about discipline, it's about trading without emotion, it's about risk management, it's about getting the basics right first.
Discipline, patience, executing strategies perfectly, and commitment.
They've helped me a lot, they've made it easy for me to learn.
You don't feel judged at all, they've made the same mistakes you have, and therefore they can help you on your way.
They know what they're talking about. They will make you succeed.
It's been a fantastic program. For me, it's been life-changing. It's taught me a lot about the markets and also a lot about myself.
You can find things that suit your personality, and this will only really make sense to people when they attend the program.
Because you can be a different type of trader. You might want to be a day trader, you might scout, you might work all day and just need an overnight strategy.
So if you want to just do it once a day at the end of the day, it's like you can happily do that and make money.
There's a huge focus on risk management first and foremost, so they make it clear it's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
As well as the course, I think what's really helped move me on from that is the coaching.
The one-on-one coaching sessions are amazing.
The coaches demonstrate in front of you. They'll do actual trades.
It's so reassuring to know that somebody who's training you is actually trading his own money as well.
They're doing what they're teaching you to do. I have to say that's the thing that's made the biggest difference to my trading.
It cements it in your mind.
It makes you feel that it's absolutely achievable.
It really gives you self-confidence.
When I see that they're making money, I know it works, and therefore when they're teaching me the strategies, I know that I can make it work.
If they can do it, you can do it. You just have to apply yourself. My coach, he gives me these little things, these little tweaks that transform my trading.
They've been pushing me to backtest too. They've been giving me books to read.
I think without the coaching, it would be really difficult.
I actually quit my job in July and took this on full-time.
It opens up possibilities.
It's a fantastic way of living your life, having freedom.
Having multiple holidays a year.
You're not working for someone else, you're not doing what anyone else tells you.
I'd never go to a 9-to-5 job now. I absolutely love the fact that I don't have a boss.
I can set my own routine in the daytime, and there's nobody reporting to me with problems all the time.
I feel like I've made an improvement in my life and that I'm going somewhere. This is the career that I definitely want to do.
Forex has given me the freedom to do what I love doing.
Spending time with your family, that was the number one thing for me, never to miss any of my children's performances in school, their activities. I'm always there.
Being able to help your family, being able to help the charities that you're passionate about.
To travel more, I don't think I've ever traveled as much as I do now, and I can pay off a trip in an afternoon.
We love the freedom of being able to go off skiing for a week at short notice and having the Forex pay for it the following week.
A lot of my friends are caught in the 9-to-5. A lot of them are unhappy, and I think they die for this kind of freedom, really. Look at them, I feel a bit sorry for them.
I don't think it's something that it's possible to do on your own.
You can't teach yourself. You have to do a course. You have to get professional help.
Put the work and effort in.
It is something you've really got to commit to.
Have the discipline to apply the rules.
I don't think you'll fail.
It's just like joining a new word.
I feel that Learn to Trade is one of the best things that has happened to me in my life, to be honest.
Decided to resign from work and do it full time.
I don't work anymore. This is a passion for me.
3 hours a week, 15 minutes a day trading.
Just a couple of hours a day, and then I have all the rest of the day free.
I've really just had positive months every month, and I'm doing really, really well.
I've made a lot of profit.
I've managed to grow my account significantly.
We've got one strategy which it usually makes about 2% a week.
I would say on average I'm doing about 5% a month.
25% return.
My best month has been 15%.
Probably just under 10%, but I know that's just a starting point, and I can achieve much higher than that.
90 pips out of one currency.
It was about a 100-pip move, and that's probably what I earned in like a week of working.
My best trading month so far is 12%.
It's made me about 15%.
About 8%.
6% a day, which is a lot. I'm quite happy to do 6% a month.
I earned $700 in one day. It's making steady profits, so yeah, it's going well.
And gave me a nice 60-pip profit.
You're just growing your capital all the time because you know how to do it.
I made almost £800. So I did another trade with Spain and Stocks 50.
Yes.
So altogether, I made 4,500.
And you watch the money coming in as a result of what you're doing, so it's hugely rewarding.
My best month has been 14%, which has just been outstanding.
3.5% was my best trading week.
And I've done the 10% in probably not even 24 hours, so it was pretty good.
The rewards are frightening.
And I'm hitting 4%, which is quite good.
I walked out with about 1,100 quid.
And it's just gone up and up and up.
My father recommended this course to me. He said it was amazing, and I would recommend it to my friends and family as well.
I highly recommend this program to my friends and family. In fact, I've got 2 friends who are currently engaged in this program and making money also.
I've recommended this course to 3 of my friends, and they're making some big returns as well.
I would absolutely recommend this to everyone I know.
I would definitely recommend it to my family.
Definitely recommend this course to people.
I would highly recommend this course.
I highly recommend this program.
How many times is your salary multiplied by becoming an FX trader from where you were as a recruiter?
Well, it's multiplied by 5.
So you're making 5 times more money than you were making in regular employment.
And I was a millionaire by I was 40, and that was in the recruitment industry. So do the math.
You came on the program in May last year, right?
Yep.
First time as a currency trader.
Yep.
You're now managing a fund of how much?
30 million.
How old are you?
27.
Oh, so I love it. And how much did you get last month of trading that?
$438,000.
Dollars?
Yep.
So, life sucks, right?
Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work.